Free Japan Channel number 182. Today, April 12th. The time is 7:30 p.m. Good evening, everybody. Sunday here in Yokohama. Spring is a very good season in Yokohama. Breeze is comfortable. Green is shining. How are you doing? Today's FGC topic is no agreement on Iranian war. US President Donald Trump always reiterated that US force destroyed Iranian bases so completely that Iranian force cannot do reprisal against Israel or some US bases in the Middle East. This was the repetition of US President Donald Trump. However, several media coverage reported that Iranian ballistic missiles still continue to destroy several cities in Israel, as well as several bases, US bases in the Middle East, which means Iranian retaliation capacity has not been destroyed by the assault from the US force. US air raid is insufficient, at least now. In Pakistan, the leaders from US and Iran negotiated on the agreement of ceasefire. From the United States, J.D. Vance, Vice President, went there, and the Iranian government also sent the representative to Pakistan, Islamabad. However, no agreement was reached. J.D. Vance quickly stopped the talk and went back to the United States. Curiously, for the international conference or international negotiation, the representative from the United States and Iran didn't meet directly this time. Instead, they respectively met the representative of Pakistan and conveyed their own will and terms. Then the Pakistan representative, Pakistan leader, transmitted each message to two leaders respectively. Therefore, J.D. Vance didn't talk to Iranian counterpart directly this time. Maybe this form has been demanded from the side of Iran, not from the United States. Perhaps J.D. Vance would have wanted to talk with the negotiator from Iran directly, but Iran refused. The most controversial issue was, of course, nuclear development. Now, Iran has been reported to have continued to develop nuclear weapons. And they means Iranian government or Iranian researchers, Iranian developers didn't renounce this will and capacity for the development of nuclear weapons. President Trump said that 99% of the issue during this talk should be nuclear weapon. Therefore, if Iran had agreed to renounce or to withdraw from the development of nuclear weapons, then the United States would have also conceded, and United States would have also approved of some rights about Hormuz Strait for Iranian request or other reparation issue. However, the most important issue, the development of nuclear weapons, was so difficult for each party to negotiate. Therefore, the talk in Islamabad collapsed. J.D. Vance quickly stopped the talk. He said that it was futile to stay in Pakistan for the further talk with Iranian counterpart, and J.D. Vance returned to the United States. Iranian government also have no intention to stop the nuclear development. I'm of the opinion, so in my opinion, it will be a good process that Iranian government continues to nuclear weapon. Now, in the Middle East, the only country which has nuclear weapon is Israel. Of course, Israel government has not declared or proclaimed to be a nuclear country. However, many reports said that Israel already possessed nuclear weapon. Then, in the near future, if Iran also possesses its own nuclear weapons, it would be a very good balance between Israel and Iran, in my opinion. Therefore, Iran or Iranian government should have the right to develop and possess nuclear weapons for the power balance in the Middle East. Now, the sole country of nuclear weapon in the Middle East is Israel. Therefore, Israel do what they want, wherever they want in the Middle East, massacre, and they decimate so many Palestinians in Gaza. And now, in Lebanon, Israel force attacked indiscriminately. Therefore, many civilians are killed when Israel is involved in some war. When Israel is involved in some war, many civilians are killed everywhere, not only in Gaza, but also in Lebanon, in Iran, or in other countries. Therefore, surrounding countries in the Middle East always detest Israel because Israel force treat surrounding people just as animals or just as livestock, something like that. From the attack of Israel, we can discern that Israel people regard other races as something inferior. It is obvious from the warfare of Israel against Muslims or against neighboring countries. In one word, Israel became a monstrous country. It is very deplorable in the Middle East. Then, if Iran develops nuclear weapon of its own, it can hinder, it can hinder the selfish attack from Israel to other countries. This is my opinion. Therefore, why not Iranian nuclear development? It's welcome news for me. Now, no agreement on Iranian war. Therefore, Iranian government will also continue to develop nuclear weapons, and in the near future, it will have the nuclear weapons of its own. There is always a way whenever there is will. There is always a way whenever there is will. So Iranian government has this will, and they didn't concede their national interest. From this attitude, J.D. Vance recognized that the talk is futile. Therefore, he came back to the United States. Iranian war will continue from now on too, but ground war is impossible for the United States as well as for the IDF, because these two countries, United States and Israel, are the countries where the price of deceased soldiers is so expensive, so high. Therefore, they cannot sacrifice so many soldiers for the victory in the war against Iran. They couldn't. Neither US nor Israel cannot compete with Iran. Iran is now ready to sacrifice its own people, and their religion, Islam, teaches them that they can go to the heaven when they fight and are killed in the process. It is obvious which side will win in the long run. Therefore, Iranian force is now waiting for the ground attack from US and Israel, and then these two countries will be at the cul-de-sac, will be confused and perplexed because they cannot endure the sacrifice from the war. And from the start, these two countries, United States and Israel, had no legitimacy for the war. Iran is now in advantageous position compared to United States and Israel. Thank you.